They used me and threw me out. The woes of Qatar's World Cup workers. Jeevan, a Nepalese worker, took out a high-interest loan worth $1,400 to secure a job in booming Qatar, after struggling to find employment in his native county. He paid a recruitment agent who found the 27-year-old a position among the foreign laborers working on the infrastructure for this month's FIFA World Cup. But a quarter of the way through a 2-year contract offering $275 a month, he was told to leave Qatar and go home. They forcefully sent workers away, including me. It was not my choice to return to Nepal, Jeevan, who did not want to use his real name for fear of reprisals, told the Financial Times from his village in the municipality of Ganeshman Charnath. They used me and threw me out when they didn't need me anymore. Preparations for the World Cup have been dogged by long-running accusations that the imported workers who have built the stadiums and infrastructure have endured miserable conditions, including low wages, non-payment of salaries and unsafe workplaces. A number have also died during the construction process, although the exact figure is disputed. Jeevan's accusation, echoed by other South Asian workers abruptly sent home having borrowed large sums to get to Qatar, suggests workers' rights continues to be a problem despite assurances from the host country. In his case, the Nepalese moneylenders are demanding their money back, plus annual interest of 36%. I don't have a penny. How can I repay? Qatar, the smallest host in World Cup history, has been clearing space for the estimated 1.5 million football fans expected to arrive over the month-long tournament that begins on November 20th. But Mahmood Qutb, Director of Workers' Welfare and Labor Rights at the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, the tournament organizers, said, a lot of effort had gone into tackling the global pandemic of recruitment fees which people such as Jeevan have been caught up in. These payments, while illegal in Qatar, are common. Companies operating in Qatar had reimbursed about $23 million to workers who paid recruitment fees to secure work in the country, he said. These were actual sums that had gone back into the pockets of workers even before the World Cup started, he added. The treatment of foreign workers is a dark shadow hanging over the World Cup. Qatar disputes media reports that thousands have died during the 12-year construction phase, while rights groups say gauging the true figure is impossible because fatalities are not investigated properly. International Labour Organization research found 50 work-related deaths across Qatar in 2020, 506 severe injuries and 37,000 injuries that were mild to moderate. Qatar's organizing committee confirmed 3 deaths since the construction began, with 37 non-work-related fatalities. Even critics agree that relentless scrutiny of Qatar's human rights record has delivered reforms, including a dismantling of the kafala sponsorship system that binds workers to their employer. It has also established the region's first minimum wage, set up tribunals to better facilitate access to justice, established the Unpaid Wages Compensation Fund, and legislated to regulate conditions for live-in domestic staff. Human rights groups are nonetheless calling for more effective enforcement and a commitment to a remedy fund to reimburse all workers who suffered abuses. The authorities have made significant reforms, but implementation has been quite weak and come too late for many workers who faced wage abuses, death or injury with no compensation, said Rathna Begum, senior researcher at Human Rights Watch. Qatar has engaged with multilateral bodies including the International Labour Organization and International Trade Union Confederation. Other Gulf states also dependent on foreign labor, such as the United Arab Emirates, have refused to engage or have banned researchers from their countries. By contrast, Qatar has requested that its temporary ILO office, scheduled to close next year, becomes permanent. There are many lessons from the Supreme Committee's standards and oversight that can be replicated among other institutions in the country, said Max Tunyon, head of the ILO office in Qatar. Although Qatari law does not allow foreign workers to form or join trade unions, joint workers' management committees that promote the voice of employees to management had been introduced by some companies. These are the first elected migrant worker representatives in the region. Qatar's labor reforms had a positive trajectory, Tunyon said, while adding that everyone agrees the work is not yet done. FIFA said it remained in positive ongoing dialogue with the ILO, the ITUC and all relevant authorities in Qatar over initiatives that will benefit migrant workers in Qatar long after the final game of the World Cup. Yet despite improvements, workers' rights and basic issues such as the payment of salaries continue to be a problem, as evidenced by strikes in the run-up to the World Cup. A Nepalese plumber, who also did not want to use his real name, had been in Qatar for less than a year when colleagues went on strike over unpaid salaries. Even though he did not join them, he and hundreds of others were sent home by the authorities in August, dashing the man's hopes of building a home and saving for his sister's wedding. I didn't get a salary for about 2 months, he said. Where can I complain? I'm here, in Nepal, far away. Human Rights Watch's Begum said she feared what would happen after the final ball was kicked and the global attention on Qatar faded away. The real concern is that when the spotlight leaves Qatar, the authorities may roll back on reforms, she said. The fact that they and FIFA are not yet committed to remedying abuses of the past 12 years leaves us in doubt as to whether they are truly committed to reform.